All right, Harvey Kronberg joins us from the Quorum Report, where he's owner, editor, and publisher and writer. And Harvey, you'd have to admit, now that you've heard what Kennedy had to say about Obama, you would agree with me that haters got to hate, right?
Oh. Well, I think people with strong opinions get to have strong opinions.
Yeah. So,
I've been known to have one or two of those myself.
He's a good man.
Who do you think are the winners and losers in Texas politics this year?
Well, the biggest winner is also the biggest loser, and I'm sure this will be controversial with your colleague there, but the biggest winner is, of course, Ted Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
But I would argue that in the roots of his victory is also the seeds of potential failure down the road. He managed to capture the country's attention and certainly became a hero among a group of Republican primary voters. In the process, he has managed to essentially isolate himself inside the United States Senate, and with the exception of a handful of other Republicans, Rand Paul being one of them, has created essentially a civil war inside the Republican Party, which, if you're a Democrat, well, the argument is always you never get out of the way when your opponent is engaging in a circular firing squad.
You know, I'm not too jazzed about Ted Cruz. Everybody's talking, saying, you want him to run, you want him to run. I honestly don't think he would run, and I don't think he'd be an absolute winner. And I think the whatever he set out to do this last year, I think, like you mentioned, he accomplished. I don't think there was much more than that.
Well, I
don't think he accomplished what he...
There is absolutely no secret that Ted Cruz is not the senator from Texas. He's the senator from Ted Cruz who is running for president.
God, that's an ugly thing to say, Harvey. Jeez.
I mean, I've known Ted for a long time. He's a very ambitious individual.
You think he's going to run?
He's a very incredibly smart individual. But to be responsible for... I agree. I think that one of the reasons there's a civil war inside the Republican Party right now is because it's a pro-business party, and a government shutdown damaged the brand, damaged the economy. Fortunately, not as much as we anticipated. When you've got the American Chamber of Commerce out there and the National Wholesalers Association and all of these folks who are normally huge Republican allies, specifically recruiting anti-Tea Party candidates, I'd have to say that
it's not good for party unity.
Correct. And the Obama story has been a disaster for the last year.
Will it continue to be one?
He's been blessed by his adversaries.
Yeah. What do you think of the other person who made a meteoric rise in the state of Texas, Senator Wendy Davis?
I think Davis is really a very interesting character in the sense that she has not demonstrated yet that she's a very good candidate. She's very tentative when she speaks. There's no fire in the belly. And as long as I'm being provocative, I'll say she's got the John Cornyn affliction, which is she can take a room full of screaming supporters and put them to sleep. Having said that, the issues are bigger than the individual, and Democrats for decades now have been pinning their hopes on organizing Hispanics, and certainly with the tone of the tenor of the immigration argument and some of the loudest voices inside the argument, they've done they've kind of Republican Hispanic participation has plummeted obviously over the last decade, but I've always thought that women were a much more important organizing principle for Democrats, and with Wendy Davis, she's going to have. We'll see on January 15th with the funding, her fundraising report. But I would be stunned if she comes in less than $15 million, and if she does $15 million, then she's beginning to have enough money to broadcast a message in Texas. And as you know, there's 20 media markets in Texas. We're the most expensive state in the union to run a statewide campaign. And Attorney General Abbott has, like most Republicans over the last 15 years, only been worried about one election, the March primary. And that is a very different animal. We're a state of 27 million people or 26 million people, and the Republican primary is about 1.3 million people. A general election is for governor is typically a little over 5 million. But since the Democrats have been in total disarray for 15 years, there's been no Democratic infrastructure. I think you're going to have phone banks for Wendy Davis in Massachusetts calling into Texas voters. I think.
Oh wow!
Boy, if they have if they have an accent, that could cut against her too.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we're already seeing some of the argument that she's relying so much on out-of-state money. Well, I actually think, being a little contrarian, I think that's a positive, because if she were to rely on in-state money, she would be at the mercy of the trial lawyers, and that's been part of the kiss of death for Democrats for at least a couple of decades. And it is much less problematic, I think. It gives her a lot more freedom of movement to have Hollywood money and Wall Street money and Silicon Valley money.
Smart.
Because while gender politics may not be the central theme that she's going to try and sell in the first 5 or 6 months, we all understand that's the core, is gender politics. Just one quick aside.
Mm-hmm.
You may recall back in the 2000s, it was 2007, Democrats actually got to within 2 votes of controlling the Texas House of Representatives. It was a three election cycles after Tom Craddock became Speaker, and Republicans went from 88, if I remember correctly, down to 76. Democrats won pivotal elections, and the issues were children's health insurance, education, and or good schools and clean air. And Democrats won when they could frame the arguments in some of these transitional districts. And I think that coalition is still there, still available to be coalesced. Last thing I'll say about Wendy Davis is that the most ironic, this is really inside baseball, but the most impressive thing about what they've done so far is her campaign manager, Karen Johansson, is a nationally prominent. She was number 2 to Rahm Emanuel when he was running the congressional campaign, and the Democrats took Congress in 2006. She's run campaigns where the individual should have no chance of winning, and the fact that she's not part of the Texas establishment could be a strength or it could be a weakness, but I think it brings she's not going to be bullied by the good old boys that have done so well for Democrats in the last 15 years.
Well, last question, because we're almost out of time. The mayor of San Antonio, the Castro guy.
Yes, Julian.
I would say this would be a winner year for him because he got a lot of attention. There's some talk, I understand, that he would be the number 2 on a ticket, maybe with Hillary Clinton. I don't know if that's just talk or serious
you never
talk.
Know. Part of that will be the performance of Wendy Davis. I know that we're going to. I don't know this directly, but we're going to see Hillary down in South Texas and doing fundraisers. One of the tells is going to be whether she's going to run for president is how active she is in Texas. But if they don't have to win Texas, they just have to make Republicans spend money to defend Texas in 2016. And if Wendy Davis exceeds expectations, if she wins, obviously Texas is in play for Hillary Clinton. And then Julian Castro becomes even more significant. If Wendy Davis loses, Julian Castro still is in contention, but it takes a little bit of the excitement out of it.
Very, 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 very quickly, Rick Perry, the governor, winner or loser in 2013?
Loser in 2013. He was a winner in 2012, but a loser in 2013. And all you have to do is look at the last 2 weeks. He was working mightily to try and get Bill Powers fired from the presidency of the University of Texas. He failed. He was trying mightily to get his hand-picked guy picked as interim president at Texas A&M. He failed. Tried to get his guy appointed for them to create a new job for his guy. And at least so far, he has failed as one political old hand. He's a lame duck, and there's one political old hand who himself was a lame duck once told me that boy's fishing with dead bait.
I've done that. It doesn't work. Listen, Listen, Harvey, thank you very much. We appreciate your time. The Quorum Report is online at quorumreport.com. And Happy New Year to you.